Well, hello out there once again, all my fellow Fix-It employees. Welcome back to another episode of How to Satisfactory 1.0, my brand new series for the official release of the game, guiding you through the journey of being a lone Fix-It pioneer on your designated planet. This is going to be a no-nonsense walkthrough and tutorial from planetfall to building what I will hope will be the perfect factory. Well, I say no nonsense, but there might be a little nonsense here and there. And completed all of our hub upgrades, including this swanky new living quarters here in the hub, where you can relax, get a change of clothing, or, do other things. Today, I plan on taking you through the 3 milestones of Tier 1. That's base building, logistics, and field research. Maybe a few other little things you may need to know, thrown in for good measure. We're also going to get going on the first foundations of our brand new starter factory, because we can't live in a spaghetti mess all of our lives. Now, keep in mind, this series isn't just for beginners. It also serves as a Let's Play for more experienced Satisfactory fans as well, who just like to see how other people play. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so we've already got a few constructors here already going, making some of the basic parts we're going to need, like iron rods and plates, as well as the wire. And we've even got some concrete getting made over there too. A little slowly but surely, anyway. Getting all that made is definitely going to help towards our next progression goal. We're going to go into our terminal. We're going to select Tier 1. And here we have base building, logistics, and field research. So I'm going to go through these kind of one at a time here. We're going to start with base building. What this is going to do is going to give us our foundations as well as ramps, walls, and we're even going to get a lookout tower. What we need for this is going to be 200 concrete, 100 plates, and 100 rods. These two are child's play, but considering we only have an impure node for our concrete, that can take a little bit. Alright, let's go ahead and get some iron rods out of here real quick, since that's what I've got going right now. But we're also going to need some plates that we don't have. So, you know what? Let's go ahead and swap this recipe over for iron plates. We'll get those going. And whenever you swap a recipe, it seems like it gives you all of the ingots back in your inventory. Well, we don't want that, so let's throw those back into the machine. We're also going to need 200 concrete, so let's head over here and see how much we've got in our constructor right now. Well, we've got 312. Pretty good. Not too shabby at all. Before I'm done, though, we are going to definitely need a lot more. Now, I've already got quite a few plates on me already, almost 100, so I'm just going to grab what's left in here right now. That's going to give us 114. And that should give us everything we need in order to complete our goal. So back over here to the hub terminal, we're going to hold down control. We're going to pop everything in there that we need. There's a big red button. Let's go ahead and press it. And there goes all of the parts that we just put in the transport vehicle heading up into the space above. So unlocking that milestone has now gave us some new building tools. If we hit Q to bring up our build menu and we go down here to foundations, you can see we have the 1 meter foundation, the 2 meter foundation, the 4 meter foundation, as well as those versions of ramps as well. But now, what if I wanted to build one of these, but I didn't want to take the time to hit Q, go in here, select what I wanted, anything like that? Well, I'm going to show you how to add things down here to your hotbar. So, if you highlight one of these items, such as the 4 meter foundation right here, actually, I'm going to do the 2 meter foundation this time. And then we just hit the number on our keyboard for which one we wanted this to be, such as number 9. You can see there that that added it down here to the hotbar. You can do this with any item that's in here in the construction thing as well. So if I wanted to do the ramps, I do the same thing. So I highlight it, and this one I'm going to hit 0, and then that's going to add it down here on our hotbar for 0. Now, you also have more than just this single hotbar as well. So right under our builder menu right here, you can see all of these different directions. One of them says cycle the hotbar by holding the right Alt key and then scrolling up or down. So I'm going to do that real quick. I'm going to hold down right Alt, and then we're going to use our mouse wheel to scroll up and down. And you can see that's number 10. If we go the other way, back to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So what that means is we can actually have 10 different menu bars down here that we can cycle through for different stuff. You can have one of these set up for all the stuff for pipes, or say one for all of our construction machines. Having so many different hotbars just makes things more organized, and it just makes building so much easier. Right now though, I'm only going to stick with the one hotbar for a while. Alright, so I can't talk about foundations without talking about the world grid. What is the world grid, you ask? Well, Think of the entire map as being laid out in a grid system, and that is the world grid. So you can have things, say I just want to place down a foundation. Well, I could totally do that. I could just place that over here, over here, over here, or anywhere I wanted, right? Anywhere I wanted, I could put this down. I could even like use my mouse wheel to turn it to the direction that I want and just plop this baby down, right? Or I could hold down Control and it snaps it to the world grid. Now, you're maybe thinking, well, why do I need to do that? If I can just place this anywhere I want, why do I need to snap it to the world grid? Snapping to the world grid makes being able to connect up your different factories and bases and things that you have maybe everywhere. Maybe you're the kind of builder who likes to have like a lot of different factories instead of just maybe one big factory like the way I play. Well, using the world grid, you can snap all of these things together and make sure that they're going to connect real easy. It's also great for heights as well because you know everything is going to be at a particular height by snapping to the world grid. Now, there are going to be some people out there who are avid that you must always build on the world grid. You can't do anything else. This is false. You guys can, this is your game. You play the game how you want. If you don't want to snap to the world grid, don't. There's nothing stopping you. These people aren't going to come to your house and be, like beat you for not using the world grid. Well, at least I don't think they will. I mean, just don't let them know where you live. They do seem to be pretty passionate about it, so you never know. But in short, you don't have to build on the world grid. You can totally just build anywhere you want. It's your game. Play it the way you want, guys. Seriously. I do a little bit of a mixture. Sometimes I'll build on the world grid, sometimes I won't. It does become a little bit of a hassle later on trying to connect things up, but I really haven't had much of an issue not doing that. So, yeah. There are some times where it will not let you place down any kind of buildable. Usually this is the case if there's something nearby, like, for example, if we come over here to this limestone node over here, you'll notice it's got another little kind of rock right here that just needs to be mined off. So if we try to place down a foundation here, you can see it's red. That means we can't place it. But at least it highlights it to what is needed to be gotten rid of, so you can place it. So we'll just chip away at this. And once it's gone, you can see here now, we can place the foundation anywhere we want. Also notice we can't place anything over here either, and that seems to be because of this little sheet of rock that is stopping us from falling down into this chasm that is underneath of there. If you can kind of get a glimpse down in there, kind of see what's in there. It's not a place we want to go right now, that's for sure. So there's one more thing to kind of go over when it comes to building, and that's the fact that some of our items, some of our buildables, have different variations. Like, for example, this foundation. You noticed earlier there's a 1 meter, a 2 meter, and a 4 meter. So I only placed the 2 meter into my quick bar. Why didn't I do all three? Well, that's because if I just hit E, I can swap to the different ones. So back to the 2 meter, I hit E, it goes to the 4 meter, I hit it again, it goes to the 1 meter. Now, if you hold E down, you will get a menu, which makes choosing these even easier. So some people like to do it this way. I mostly just hit E until I get to the one I want, but you can hold it down and just select which one you want to. There's another trick with this as well, which you'll see on the right and left hand side of the screens. It says left mouse button for previous material and right mouse button for next material. Well, we don't actually have any other materials right now that we can do that with, so I can show you. But let's say, for example, later on we get the concrete foundations. Well, instead of placing down the basic foundations right now, I could hit the right mouse button, choose the concrete foundations instead. All right, so let's go ahead and start getting some of our base built right here. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to come over here, we're going to grab some concrete, but we're also going to need some iron plates as well in order to make foundations. So we'll come back over here where we have the iron plates being made. I'll grab some of these out as well. We're going to come back over here to our limestone node, and here's how we're going to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the number 9 key to bring up our 2 meter foundation. Hit E to swap it over to the 4 meter foundation. Now I'm going to do one more thing here. I'm going to go ahead and hit the R key, and you'll notice it changes build modes. So right underneath the foundation there, see where it says build mode zoop, and then build mode vertical, and build mode default. Default, anytime you start the game, automatically goes to default. So basically whenever you bring up the game and you start playing, you're going to need to swap this over. I like Zoop. Zoop is quite handy. It's what we're going to use today. And I'm going to hold down Control to find the world grid. And we're going to place down a 4-meter foundation right here. So what Zoop does is it lets us zoop things in different directions. So I can go that way, I can go this way. So once I hit my mouse button once, you'll notice it wants to add another one here. So because we're in the Zoop build mode, what Zoop does is it lets us build in a single direction up to about 10 foundations out. So I can go this way, I can zoop it this way, I can zoop it back that way, any way I want. What I'm going to do is I'm going to zoop 10 that way. So we're going to go towards our hub right there. Now, if you want to know exactly why I use the 4-meter foundation here instead of maybe the 1-meter or the 2-meter, it's because if I place down a 2-meter over here, say, and I hold down Control, you see how it's not at the right height there that the 4-meter is? Well, I use the 4-meter so I could get just a little bit more height there because I want my foundation to be just above the grass and any pesky rocks that we can't really get rid of right now at the moment. All right, so I'm going to hold F. We're going to dismantle that 2-meter foundation I just placed down. We're going to middle mouse button while highlighting the 4-meter. That way we can copy that. And we're going to zoop another 10. We're going to come next to this. We're going to do another 10 down that way. All right, so right now that gives us a 3 foundation by 10 foundation long platform right here where our limestone node is right here. So here's the thing with the nodes and the foundations. You can remove the miner, and then I can go back in to production. We'll grab the miner again, and I can just kind of put this down here, and you'll notice it is actually putting it on the foundation now. So I can turn it like this, and so instead of being sunk down into it and building the foundations around it, we can just build this right on top of it. Now, there is a limit of how far you can build upwards with foundations before it just starts getting weird. So I'm not really sure what that limit is. It's something like maybe 6 meters, I think, above the ground once you get too far, and then it starts sinking into the actual foundation. So that's why I kind of have this here. It's just we went 4 meters off the ground right there, and that works for me. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and put our miner here on top of the foundations we just built, but I'm going to have it facing the opposite direction from our hub, like this. I'm also going to get rid of the conveyor belt and our constructor here that we were making the concrete out of. And you know what? We'll also get rid of the power pole too, because we're going to redo every single bit of this. Next, let's grab a constructor, and we're going to place our new constructor down on top of the foundations now. And I wanted to have the input coming from our miner down this way, with the output going towards our hub. And I want to get it right in the center between, we'll say, like 1 foundation away from our miner here, the back of it. But I want to get it in the middle between these two. So I'm going to place that right there. We'll hit H to lock it into place so we can use the arrow keys to nudge it where we want. And I want it centered right on our 3 foundation platform right there. That looks pretty good to me. I'm going to go with that. We'll place it down. Next, we'll take a conveyor belt. We're going to put it into our miner right here. We're going to hit R to change to straight build mode using our conveyor belts. I'm going to bring this down to right about here, right at that line with the foundation. That seems good. And then we're going to connect that into our constructor. We'll connect a power line from the miner down to right here next to that line, right there in the center. That works really good right there. We'll connect another power line to our constructor, and then we just need to find power where we can jump off of this, which I think we had it from there. That'll work for the moment. And there goes our miner getting ready to dig, well, technically down through the foundation and into our limestone node again. More just a need to make our constructor back to concrete once again. And this looks really, really good right here. So, as you can see, the way we have the foundations is I wanted the foundation to be 1 foundation from the front of our miner, like that. So now we should have the 3 by 10, but we want to come down here. We want to do about 2 more down here. We're going to come all the way down here to the end of these foundations. I'm going to middle mouse button on right there. That way we can get a copy of the 4 meter, but this time I want to change this over to, let's do a 2 meter and see if we can do it. Yeah, okay, yeah. If we had done the 4 meter, we wouldn't be able to place the 4 meter down because of this right here. So that's why I'm switching over to the 2 meter. I want to do one more layer and then one more right here. So now we have a 3 by 12 coming down through here. Now, something we unlocked in the second episode that we didn't get into was, if we go into organization, we have these storage containers. So we never placed any of these down, but now is a good time to do so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and we're going to put one of these down on the 10th foundation. I'm going to center it with the input right there in front of our constructor. That looks good right there. Let's then run a belt from the constructor they're making our concrete all the way into our storage container. So now you can see all of the concrete that we're making is going to come out of the constructor, come down this belt, and go into our storage container. So now what I want to do is I want to make 6 more of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it. I'm going to place one right down next to this one, and you can see it's lined up by the line there. However, I want to turn the others the opposite direction. So I want the output to be facing us here instead of facing away from us. So I'll place another one there. We'll do another one next to that one. Now we are going to have to build a few more foundations out right here, but that's not a problem. So we'll do that. And we'll come over here to the other side as well. And here's what I was talking about. See where we can't put the 4 meter foundation down here? So we'll just hit E to change that over to the 2 meter. And you know what? Even the 2 meter is not going to work there. All right, so I guess we'll do the 1 meter. We'll put my final 3rd storage container over here next to the last one we just placed down on the edge. And, well, I mean, we would if Jeffrey here wasn't in the way. All right, look, Jeffrey. I'm trying to do something here. I'm trying to show people how to work. Do you mind? I'm just going to run you away. There, get out of here. All right, now that he's gone, we can go ahead back to our business. So we'll replace that last storage container down on this side. We'll come over here on the other side. We'll place down 3 more. Now you do see here that we have these trees that are just, kind of coming up out of the foundations. No worries. We can't get rid of them right now, but we will shortly, and we're going to turn those into resources for power. All right, so now I'm just going to do a little bit of cleanup duty here. You can see I've got the copper kind of conveyor belt coming down through here. It's just kind of in the way, so I'm just going to fix this just a little better. All right, there we go. Fix that. Probably won't be the last time I'm going to have to fix all of this and remove it and redo it. But, sometimes you got to make a little bit of spaghetti before you can learn to make lasagna. Now I'm going to go ahead and we're going to throw a conveyor belt onto our constructor right here that is making our wire. Let's run this down here to the other side. Let's do this one right here. Not the first one on the right-hand side, but this one. So we'll put all of our wire into that box right there. Now back over here, this constructor is making our iron plates currently. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a conveyor belt out from here. I'm going to turn it like so. I'm going to click once right there, and then I'm going to move up, and you can see that I can raise the conveyor belt. We can only go so far though, so I'm just going to go like 1 up. This way, this gives us the opportunity to build a belt over top of everything else here. Then we'll just bring it this way, over top of the copper and the wire, and we'll raise it up 1. There we go. And then we'll bring this back down, and let's put it into, we can do either of these first 3 right here. From there, we can put it into any of the first 3 boxes that we have right here. So I might as well just go ahead and place it in the first box right there, since that's the closest one. That's going to start putting our plates into a box now. All right, so there's one more thing we unlocked with the base building milestone, and that is the lookout tower. So I'm going to go ahead and plop one of these guys down right here. I'll turn it so the ladder's facing away from me, like so. And we get this really tall lookout tower. So you might be thinking, what is this good for? Well, what it is this lets you climb up to the top, and it gives you a nice overlook of what you're building. So you can actually build from up here and get kind of a bird's eye view. All right, so that's a basic overview of the first milestone that we unlocked, base building. What you can do with foundations. We also have ramps we can use, the lookout tower here. Not only that, but we've got a very beginning start of what our factory is going to be. I put an emphasis down here on the concrete first because we are going to need a lot of concrete before we can do any of the rest of the building over here for the entire factory. I also wanted to get some organization done down here. This way the machines that we have making our parts don't get backed up, and we're getting those in the boxes down here so we can just grab stuff out of the boxes as we go. Now don't worry about getting too overwhelmed too quick. I'm going to be building this starter factory in steps as we go throughout the first few episodes. Honestly, right now, what we could probably use is another machine right here making the iron rods as well as making iron plates, since those are the three main components we're going to need: rods, plates, and wire. But I would have to place one more constructor, and I'd have to place another miner right now because there's no way to split these lines up just yet. A miner uses 5 megawatts, a constructor uses 4 megawatts, and if we come over here and look at our power, the maximum consumption right now is 35. So that would add on another 9 to that. We can only go up to 40. That's our capacity. So that would blow a fuse. We don't want that. So let's come back in here, back to the hub terminal. Let's take a look at our next milestone: logistics. So what we're going to get now is something that is going to fix that problem for us. We're going to get conveyor splitters and conveyor mergers. We're going to get lifts for the conveyors and the building efficiency stat. This is really nice because this helps us kind of determine percentages, like things we need in order. It's like a math thing, essentially. It's going to help us to be a better factory designer. To unlock this milestone, we're going to need 150 plates, 150 iron rods, and 300 wire. So I'm going to go ahead and select that milestone up there, and then let's see what we got. Well, we've got the wire, we've got the plates, we just need the iron rods. So that means we're going to come back down here to our constructor here for our iron. And again, we're going to switch that recipe over to iron rods. And we're going to throw the ingots back in there. That way we can get that construction going real quick. So while we're waiting for all the iron rods we're going to need, it's a great time to run around, grab some more leaves, wood, stuff like that we can turn into the biomass and put into our power. So if we come all the way down here to where our limestone miner is and look kind of northwest, you can see a lot of trees right there. What we can do is let's head down there to grab all of the biomass we need. Don't forget, you can always just, when you go to pick up something, hold down E, and instead of just letting it go, you can now walk and pick up stuff too. And as we head into our little forested area, we're going to be met with a couple of new friends here. This guy over here, oh look, he's coming to meet us. Oh, he looks pettable. Oh, maybe not. Apparently he's got some Dragon Ball Z stuff going on. All right, this is what I call the spitter right here. There are different variations of this one. This is a forest spitter since we're kind of in a forest area here. The best way to kind of kill him, since we don't have the blade runners yet, is to essentially just kind of run up on him and just start hitting him with the Xeno Zapper. You can kind of slide underneath of the fireballs, but it's a little tricky to get the hang of, and really they're not so bad once you get the next upgrade to our weapon here. Another form of alien life right over here. This guy is a toxic plant. So as you approach them, you can see they kind of stand up. Don't worry, they're not going to come after you. They're not going to chase you. What they are going to do is they're going to puff out this green gas here in just a second. Nope, there it goes. You can see it's starting to fill the air, and there goes our health rather rapidly. These guys are pretty dangerous, but you do have a few moments before they activate their gas defense to kind of maneuver around them. It does take a little bit, though, for it to kind of fade away, for it to kind of settle down. That way you can get back into the area where they are. While you're over here exploring this little growth area, you may also come across this guy right here. So this is what's called a Mercer sphere. So what we're going to do, let's go ahead and pick this up. You know you're near one because you start hearing strange voices. Now there's really nothing we can do with that just yet, but we're going to go ahead and collect those whenever we see them. Now occasionally while you're out in the world, you may also come across just random rocks of different resources, like this guy right here. If you kind of come up on it, you can see that's sulfur. So we could go ahead and start mining this, but I'm actually going to leave it alone right now for the moment because I'm not ready to kind of explain all of that stuff just yet. And if I did, I could make a whole video on it. Also, with every game that you play, the little like nodes of rock and stuff and resources here are always different. They're always in the same spot, but they're always different. In one playthrough, this might be, say, quartz. This time, it's sulfur. This could also be coal, iron. It could be anything. It's just completely random. You may also come across some of these berries right here. We can go ahead and pick these guys up. There's also these guys right here. These are barrel nuts, also edibles, same as the pale berries. If your health starts to get low, you can always hit tab, go into your inventory, grab one of those items, the pale berries or the barrel nuts, throw them into your hands, select it, eat it, and you gain a little bit of health back. Not much, but a little bit. Back to the hub and the crafting bench, and let's start turning all of the stuff we just collected into some biomass. We can also throw a few things here that we have into storage to free up a little bit of room, like that Mercer sphere, for example. All right, now that it's morning again, we should have enough of the iron rods that we can use now. So I'll head over here to the box they're going into. Yep, there's 200. We'll grab those. Back to the hub terminal. Throw those into there. And at this point, you guys know what to do. Whenever you see a big red button, you're going to push it. Push it real good. And then we're going to send up those supplies. So in return, we've gotten new stuff that's going to help us to be a little bit more efficient. So earlier I was saying we really needed another machine here. That way we can be making plates and rods at the same time. But doing so would require another miner, another smelter, and another constructor. Now though, with our splitters, we only need an extra constructor. I'm going to go ahead and remove the smelter here real quick, and the belt going into that constructor, and the belt going into the smelter as well. We're going to copy that constructor right there and place it right next to our other one right here. Just hold down Control, that should work. We'll put our smelter back down here, run the conveyor belt with the ore into the smelter. And now for the output, we're going to place down something new. So let's go into our build menu. We're going to go into logistics right here, and you see we have, there's the conveyor lift, conveyor poles right here, conveyor merger and splitter. So a conveyor merger, you basically put that on a conveyor belt and it will merge multiple conveyor belts into one. The splitter does the opposite, of course. It's going to split something on a conveyor belt up into multiple ones. So in this particular use case, we're going to be using the splitter. I'm going to be bringing this in from the smelter right here. So obviously our output's going to come out. And what I want to do is I want to put this kind of right in front of the input for our first constructor, like that. And we want to make sure that the arrows for the input are right there facing that way. Run the belt from the smelter into the splitter. And then we can run one belt going into the constructor right here from the splitter, like so. If you have trouble trying to get the belt to go into the actual constructor, just see if you're on straight mode. For me, I got to turn this off and go to default. And then we're going to run another belt coming out of the splitter into our other constructor right there. So what this is going to do is going to evenly divide the iron ingots that are coming out of our smelter. It's going to take half of them and send them into this. The other half is going to go into that constructor. Just got to get some power to these guys here and then configure everything. So we're making iron ingots. Those are going to be turned into, let's see, we've already got this one going. We just need to configure this one for the iron plates. All right, so currently our smelter is turning 30 iron ore into 30 iron ingots. So that means we're going to have 30 iron ingots coming out of our smelter here. It's going to go into here. That's going to send 15 that way, 15 that way. If we look at the machine here making the iron plates, you can see here that we need 30 in order to just make those. Well, that's not enough. So this machine is not going to run at its best efficiency, which we can now see here because you can see we got a 94% right here. We see a lot more details now that we unlock the efficiency stats. This one, on the other hand, is only using 15 to make the iron rods. So we're getting enough to make this one 100% efficient. But this one here, unfortunately, well, it's just not going to be as best as it could be at the moment. If you've got any iron ingots, you can go ahead and throw those into the machine now. That's going to help it out a little bit, just to kind of get a little caught up. All right, now we just need to connect our brand new constructor up to one of our boxes over there. So this is a perfect opportunity to show you how our new conveyor lifts work. So if we go back into our build menu, into logistics, right there you see the conveyor lift Mark 1. I'm going to go ahead and add that to my hotbar as number, you know what, I'm going to do it as 4. We're going to replace the conveyor pole with one of these. While I'm in here, I'm also going to go ahead and add the splitter as number 5. So with the conveyor lift, I'm going to go ahead and I want to plop one of these on the end of our constructor right here. So we'll select number 4. We'll bring that out and you can see it connects onto the end of the machine. And then once we click our mouse button once, it kind of locks that to there. And then you can see we can actually turn it using our mouse wheel. So different directions. I want to turn it that direction towards our boxes. And we can also go up and down by raising just up and down like that. So we can get different lengths, different heights and stuff on that. I'm going to leave it just kind of as far down as we can right there. Come over here to our storage boxes. We'll place another conveyor lift on the back of one of these. Turn it this way, kind of towards our one down there. Now we should just be able to connect a conveyor belt from that one straight up to this one. There we go. Perfect. Now you can see our plates are coming out of the constructor into the conveyor lift, going up, and then it's going to be running across that conveyor belt to the other lift, down, and into the box. Now I know we have a huge like spaghetti mess of cables and conveyor belts running everywhere right now at the moment. Don't worry, we are going to fix all of this. This is only temporary. So that's everything with logistics. So let's move on to our last upgrade milestone here. Back to the hub terminal. It's going to be field research. Now, this one, we're going to unlock a map that we can finally use. We're also going to research something called the MAM. It's a molecular analysis machine. I'll show you what that is once we unlock it. The object scanner. The ability to make personal storage boxes like the one over here to the left of us right here in the hub. And more inventory. Let's go ahead and select that milestone. I've already got all the wire we're going to need. And we've got the plates we're going to need as well. We just need 300 screws. Now right now, I don't have a machine that's making screws. And we don't have enough power to put one of those machines in, so we can. So for now, I'm going to come over here. We're going to grab about a stack of iron rods. Come back up here to our crafting bench, and we're going to turn those iron rods into screws. And then we're going to take those screws and we're going to throw them into the hub, like so. And then hit that big red ignition button. All right, so by unlocking field research, that's going to give us another 3 inventory slots. Those are all important. Got to have those so we can carry more stuff, and you got to carry more stuff in this game. We can now unlock the personal storage box. So just like this little guy right here, we can go into our build menu, pick that, and then we can place that anywhere we need to, just for, you know, a little more storage here and there, just for small things. We also now have access to the map. You can do that by hitting M on your keyboard for map. And you can see here, most of the area is kind of still blocked by what's called the fog of war. Even though we're not in a war game or anything like that, not kind of do any kind of base defending, but it's still kind of called the fog of war. Everything here that's actually been revealed is so far the places that we have traveled. So as you travel more of the map, you'll reveal a lot more of the map. Also, when you're searching for things such as the resources here, like say copper ore, you can do a scan for that, bring up your map, and then it will pop up on the map here and show you where those are. Down here on the bottom of the map, you will see we have all sorts of little icons. These are icons that you can place on the map. You just click one, and then say I want to put it right here where those are, and boom, right there. I know there was another one over here, but I can't remember exactly where it was, so I'm not going to do that. And you can use any of these icons for that. You can also do map markers. So if I click that and then place that down right there, that's going to let me name the actual marker. Just going to call it test real quick. We don't need a subcategory, but you can do that. You can select the icon that you want to do for that. I'm just going to do an X real quick. You can choose your marker size on the map, so large or regular. You can do marker view distances. This tells you like how far away it is before you can actually see the actual marker. So infinite would be anywhere from the map. You can highlight it or you can remove it. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply that. And then if we go outside the map, there you can see we have that giant glowing laser beam right there. That's going to tell us where that marker we just placed down is. In order to remove it, just go back into the map, click on it, and hit remove marker. Over here on the bottom right hand side, you can zoom in or out to right there. You also have a list right here of everything that you've placed on the map, or anything that is on the map right there will show up over here. Now the other 2 things that we've unlocked with field research is the MAM and the object scanners. So the MAM, I don't really think I'm going to have time to go into that today, and really I think it deserves its entire episode just to itself. But if you go up here to special, you will see now we have the MAM, right there. So if we place this down out here, looks like I need some reinforced iron plates to place it, but it works just like the equipment workshop. So it's just a thing that you place down here in your base or factory, and then that's going to let you access research where you can unlock all sorts of things. So again, don't think I'm going to get into that in this episode. I think I'm going to wait, and we're going to do an entire episode just about the research, the MAM. I'll also get into the object scanner, how to use that, and we'll unlock a few things with the MAM as well. Alright, so that's going to do it for this episode of How to Satisfactory 1.0. I'll be back within another day or two with another episode as fast as I possibly can get it out. But until then, if you have any comments about the video or if you have any questions about the game, be sure to place those in the comments down below. Every comment, even if it's just an emoji, will help this video and kind of reach more of a wider audience. It's a whole YouTube algorithm thing. You know how it is. So if you're not already a subscriber, you like my stuff, make sure you hit that subscribe button right down there and hit a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. You know, all that typical YouTube stuff that, you know, most of us have to tell you guys, like you don't already know it. But until next time, wherever you guys are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and I'll see you in the next video.